Hi, everybody. I hope you're all having a great, is it a Thursday or Wednesday? I can't remember. That's what
It's
happens in the summer,
Wednesday.
isn't it?
It's Wednesday.
It's
yeah.
a Wednesday. Yeah. Excellent.
So welcome everybody. We thought we'd do something new with our virtual series. If you've been with us for any of our previous virtual classes with Hitomi or some of our other programs, we thought it'd be a good kind of thing to do a bit of a pre-workshop orientation session where we can go through, the schedule, a little bit of the curriculum, get some. I'll talk a little bit about how to access stuff, like where to get links, how to watch the live streams, so that we kind of cover all those bases, and especially for those of you who are new. Otherwise, and also it's a good opportunity for us to kind of get some of the kinks out of the live streaming and make sure we have everything going. So first off, if you want to let me know in the chat if our audio sounds good. So that's the usual thing. So let us know how our audio sounds, and if Hitomi's audio sounds good, if mine sounds good. And that way we'll do that at the beginning of every live stream anyways, but it's a good kind of practice to let you guys let me know. Otherwise, I think we're going to just quickly go through schedule, curriculum, how to watch, a few tips, and how to access stuff. And then we'll field questions at the end if any of you have questions about the workshop. But also, if you have any questions throughout as we're going through the schedule, please ask. And that's the case throughout all lessons in this program in the workshop. We use the YouTube platforms because it has a really user-friendly live chat. So please feel free to use the live chat if you have any questions. So first off, we're going to go through schedule. Let's see. Oh, that's my last thing. So see, I already put up the wrong graphic. So here we go, schedule. So we start this Sunday. And we're going to go through each individual one after I do a quick run through the schedule. So starting with introduction to garden style design. Okay, I see Joyce says, Hitomi sounds good. I had to crank up my volume to hear you. So hopefully our levels are good. I'm going to boost them up just a little bit.
Sounds good.
All right, so starting with introduction to garden style this Sunday. Times that are posted, a lot of times in emails I'll post PDT and EDT, so like Eastern and Pacific. We're in Pacific daylight savings time, so that's why you see PDT. So,
that was a question.
Yeah, I know somebody asked that. So noon Pacific time on Sunday, followed by mechanics for garden style design the following day at 3 p.m. Pacific time. Then we're going to go a couple of weeks, and you're going to have challenges kind of at the end of each session. So that's why we kind of space out this program a little bit more. So we'll be off for just over a week, and then we'll get into introducing forged materials, and that's Wednesday, July 31st at 3 p.m. Pacific. Then we're going to have another little break and a few more challenges, or a couple of challenges for you to do and post to the Facebook group. And then get into classical shapes and forms on August 11th. That's a Sunday at noon. And then we're going right into our final lesson 3 days later on Wednesday, August 14th. That's scaling up garden style design, where Hitomi's going to talk a little bit about installation work and larger pieces, but still doing that garden style design. So that is August 14th. That's a Wednesday at 3 p.m. Pacific. And then we're going to finally wrap up the full workshop with with our live student review, where you'll submit your student assignments, and you'll get to have some feedback live on Zoom with Hitomi. And that's going to be August 25th. There's not a specific time. Oh, I'm hearing my voice is going in and out, so hopefully it's okay. Let me see. Okay. I'm going to turn it up a little bit. Maybe now it's... we were doing a live stream earlier in the week, and it was like our first live stream in a couple of months, and my settings got all messed up, so I was hearing a little bit of noise, so I kind of lowered them, but maybe now it's not loud enough. Anyways, let me know how keeps going. Hopefully, that's why I put graphics up. So even if you can't hear me, you can see the what I'm talking about. So anyways, I was saying the live student review, it doesn't have a time on there because we're going to actually have 4 different sessions throughout the day. So kind of whatever works best with you and your schedule. Okay, I'm hearing much better now. So, okay.
That's good.
All right. So we got that sorted out. So then next we'll go into each individual lessons. I'm going to quickly read through kind of the summary, and then Hitomi is going to elaborate a little bit on what you guys can expect. So our first lesson this Sunday at noon, Introduction to Garden Style Design. It says Hitomi kickstarts this workshop with a live 90 minutes lesson covering all things garden style design. From sharing what's currently growing in our own garden to breaking down the history and significance of garden style design, this lesson will give you the basics and fundamentals to build on throughout the rest of the workshop. So Hitomi, what can they expect
so,
this Sunday?
basically we're going to start with just discussing what is garden style, because there's different ways that you can interpret it. And I think I mentioned it in one of my posts that, it's a very diverse range of looks, and it really depends on how you approach it. So I wanted to be able to show you some through images of designs that I've done in the past, etc. Some of the that I would sort of classify as garden style and why. One of the things that I really wanted to do with a lot of the programs here on, and it's not that I haven't done it before, but to give you a little bit more insight into a little bit of background history of it, and also the techniques and mechanics of former and current, and maybe for the future, so that we have a little bit more to work with, different possibilities that you guys can explore, especially in the challenges that I put out to you, which, by the way, is not mandatory that you do them, but it sure helps if you kind of practice on a regular basis as you're going along with these lessons, to be able to test out some of these things so that you have something to contribute to share with the rest of the group, but also just so that you are in practice with the whole concept. So that's kind of what we're going to do with the first session, is to really discuss in depth and what are the important components that you need to really think about, including like the plant nomenclature, identity, all of that kind of stuff. So that's what the first session is going to be, and I'm going to sort of get started into the first design.
All right. So exciting.
I'm excited about it because every time I do this kind of session, I learn so much more, because you delve into it, you deep dive into it. So right. I think you'll enjoy it because that background gives you always a lot of fuel for what you might want to do. So
awesome. All right. So lesson 2, which is the following day, Monday, 3 p.m. Pacific time on July 22nd. So that is going to be covering mechanics for garden style design. A little summary. The second live lesson with Hitomi will build on the fundamentals from lesson 1 and dive into the mechanics of garden style design. Learn more about mechanics that will help accentuate the softness of garden flowers in a myriad of applications. Hitomi will also issue her next student challenge for you to work on for the next 7 days leading up to the live lesson, since we have a little bit of that gap. So Hitomi, what can we see in lesson 2?
Literally, when you're given 7 days leading up to the following lesson, and that you have a student challenge, that doesn't limit you to just doing 1. You can do 2 or 3. I mean, it really depends on your busy schedule at home, of course, but it just gives you an opportunity to just play and play out some of these maybe mechanics and techniques that I'll be showing, because I'll be showing several, because there's several ways to approach garden style. So I think that's what's fun, and I think if you do the practices, and I found that with the last series of workshop on the structure building, that the students that kind of worked on these challenges in between and posted on the Facebook page, you can see that the growth in their work just because they were in practice. And because each time you try something, it takes you to the next level, I think. So anyway, I mean, that's kind of what I do with myself as well, is I sort of, with each one, you learn something that bring it to the next level. So I hope that you will participate in that way if you can. I know it's summer vacation, so I know it's difficult to fit the family, the shop, the business, and all of that together, weddings and all of that. But wherever you can, I kind of would like to challenge you to try a little something anyway.
Awesome. Okay, so next lesson 2, like I mentioned, we have a little bit of gap. So our lesson 3 isn't till July 31st. That's a Wednesday. And we're going to introduce foraged materials. So this live lesson will focus on introducing foraged materials to your beautiful garden flowers. Hitomi will outline how she searches for foraged materials that will add to her designs by use in structure building or by complementing the flowers that she's cut from the garden. So Hitomi, you want to elaborate a little bit?
Yeah, first of all, it's great that there's a little bit of a gap between the after the first 2 and then the third, because it'll give time for our garden to sort of catch up and kind of start producing a little bit more diverse range of things. Because right now I have nothing but like sweet peas, like we have sweet peas coming out everywhere. And it's wonderful because we never had that luxury of buying that many sweet peas to work into a design. But I think this little gap of time will give us...
Especially in mid-July, right?
I know, and it's funny, mid-July, and we'll have all these sweet peas. It's because we had a very cool spring and very cool early summer that in the past, sweet peas would be long gone because it's gotten so hot. The heat hasn't happened till the last couple of weeks. So that's why we're having the residual of the cool weather that is cropping out right now with the sweet peas. But it's a real joy. It's been wonderful to have so much of it. Although, I'm learning how to use them in different ways and different structures I can use to give it different effects. So that's the fun of it. And I think what you'll find with, selecting your materials, especially when you get into the forage stuff, because this is what this particular lesson is all about. And forage meaning like, not necessarily going out to forage, but forage even within your garden. Things that you never thought that you would ever use in a design that you might want to use in garden. I've been doing a lot of that. Some of the grasses that I haven't even paid attention to before, I'm paying much more greater attention to it, or vine, or just being curious about certain things that's cropping up here and there I hadn't seen before. So foraging is looking out for. And then, of course, I'm going to talk a little bit about the kind of the rule for foraging, to do it right, do it correctly, and doing it in a thoughtful way that doesn't hurt anything. So, it's a whole lesson in what to do.
Responsible foraging.
Responsibility, accountability of how you use it and how you even dispose of it. So, not that everything forage is bad, but just so you know that if there's forage material that can be invasive, you have to be aware of it. So we're going to have some of that discussion as well, which I think is really, really important.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. All right. So moving on from lesson 3, we go into lesson 4, Sunday, August 11th. With classical shapes and forms. So this live lesson expands on lesson 1 and 2 and dives into classical shapes and forms that lend themselves to garden style design. See what's in Hitomi's garden 3 weeks after start. That's also a reason why we space things out, so we can see, some of our summer flowers are doing that aren't quite ready just yet. And learn and create beautiful curvilinear shapes like crescent-shaped hand-tie bouquet, or perhaps a Hogarth curved design using mechanics that will make it seem very easy. So Hitomi, you want to talk about that?
Yeah, so classically, it seems to me that, even like a lot of the shapes that are being used or to mimic for garden style has come from some of the botanical paintings, the Flemish flower paintings and Dutch flower paintings from many, many years ago. The art has inspired those kind of shapes, and that is what is the most popular style in the garden style design. So we're going to dive into that and the different kind of mechanics that can create that. Some of it being the simpler way or more sustainable way of designing in those kind of classical forms, but also just understanding how some of those paintings were actually painted and why the selections were what they were, and whether those are doable or not. Like there's a discussion of sort of historical value of those kind of styles that we're mimicking this currently, that is so beautiful, but it's obvious to me that when you look outside, that sort of curvaceous feeling, the vines, the sinuous stems, when it's curvilinear and not so angular, those are what kind of composes the beautiful shapes of garden style. So it's really about less contrived and more inspired by natural. So we'll talk about that in the hand-tied bouquets, as well as in designs in vases, and then on to some other applications as we will then further explore possibly installations and other big projects. Yeah, so it's going to kind of a segue to relate some of these, what we know about it and what kind of styles, and what we can do to elaborate on it further and to expand it so that we can all have our own little take on how these could be done.
Awesome. Okay, so then moving on from lesson 4, we're going to go into our final lesson. Lesson 5. There we go. Which is going to be Wednesday, August 14th. That's scaling up garden style design. So now it's time to scale up to structures that will still maintain the garden style aesthetic, but wow your customers with maximum visual impact. Hitomi will outline and demonstrate a number of mechanics and techniques that will help you scale up your garden designs to infinite possibilities. So
yeah, that's kind of some of my favorite things to do because I think once you kind of figure out a system that works, whether, and I'm really all about the reuse to reduce structure building the last workshop that we did, to allow you to kind of conceptualize the shapes that you want to create. And some of those then will lead into, in combination, to become bigger work. And as far as the actual materials that I'll be using, just overall garden style, meaning that really, we're going to be working a lot with local grown. Even though like right now, we have very limited amount, but I'm going to be shopping farmers market, some of my friends who have some fabulous flower farms. We're going to explore that so that it takes away that kind of the urge to always fall back to the same old combination of, the roses that you prefer to use that you buy, or your carnations and that. I think this time of the year, because there are so much fresh flowers that's local, it's a time to just explore all its possibilities. So this scaling up garden style will explore how to do it with sort of local grown, farm grown, beautiful flowers that perhaps I myself haven't tried some of it before. So it's going to be a lot of fun sharing all that experiences and possibilities.
All right. And again, if anybody has any questions about any of these sessions, please feel free to ask. That's what this orientation session is, if you have any questions about the different lessons. So then following up our lesson 5, we're going to go into student review a couple weeks later, I guess about 11 days later. So student assignment live review, Sunday, August 25th. There'll be 4 live Zoom sessions. There'll be kind of a early morning one, or morning one, late morning one, early afternoon, and an evening session. So following the final live lessons, students will have the opportunity to complete the student assignment issued by Hitomi during lesson 5. The 4 live Zoom sessions will allow students to submit their design assignments and receive live one-on-one feedback from Hitomi. There will also be an opportunity for students to submit written feedback if they encounter a scheduling conflict. So if you can't make it live, or if you can't finish your assignment by the deadline, which will be generally the same day, I usually make the deadline about 4 to 6 hours prior to each session. So if you're unable, if you have a busy end of summer schedule, then you can always submit later to get written feedback from Hitomi. So Hitomi, anything you want to?
Yeah, I just want to elaborate a little bit more on this final assignment, because that is one of several, it really is a final assignment that comes from the various challenges from each session that I do. Now, challenges, it's not required for you to do them. Just pay attention to it. If you do them, that's great. And please share it on our Facebook group page, because I will be constantly commenting on them, which may also add to the lesson. especially because this is all about garden flowers and that everybody's coming in from different parts. So garden flowers may be different from other parts of the country or other parts of the world from which the students will be participating, which makes it super exciting and interesting to know what is that, you know? So those challenges, like I say, are not mandatory for you to actually do and post, but if you do, I think you'll get a lot out of it. And even if you don't do them, pay attention to the group page so you can see what people are posting, because I find that just as much high on education as it is the lesson itself. And the lesson just start to expand the moment we start to interact with each other. So just remember that. And then the final assignment, these kind of workshop, it's not like you have to do it to complete the project. It isn't. But it's just an indication of just, you know, what everybody have created based on the information that you've gleaned from observing my sessions and learning from my sessions, and the conversation that we'll have with one-on-one with each individual students as we review their compositions, whatever that might be, because it'll be kind of more or less your choice, you know, given that I will still give you an assignment. But it just makes it, those are the extra lessons that really beefs up the actual content of this whole thing. You know, I'm a real believer in everybody's voice contributing together adds more and more and more. So yeah, we definitely urge you to participate in the final the assignment. But if by chance, like Colin says, if you're not able to because of vacation, family time, etc., just do watch it, you know, with or without a piece, because it's for everyone to view. And of course, through recording, you get to see the whole thing anyway.
And do submit after you get back from your vacation. Because Hitomi didn't mention, and I haven't mentioned, but if you do submit a final design for the student project, there is or student assignment, there is you will receive a digital certificate of completion of the program. So that's good to know. I do have one question here from Joyce Homchek. She's asking, hi, is there a list of supplies we will need?
I think what's going to happen is, like, through the lesson, you'll see what I use, and you can decide of which that you want to acquire, to have ready. They're not anything too terribly out of reach that you can't get from any kind of local sources. I've made it specifically that way in most part, but I will let you know right from the beginning, you know, what some of the things what it involves. That's why there's sort of a gap in between, so that if you don't have it, you can still go out and get it.
Yeah, and those of you who were in the structure building class, it's a little bit more, I guess, easier to procure supplies. So that's why Hitomi didn't put together a supply list like she did for the structure building class, because it was much more supply heavy since you were building structures.
Exactly. But I will, you know, definitely, like, with each lesson, I provide really a pretty thorough kind of written piece that Colin puts together into a nice file. Like, he will make it even nicer than before, because he actually structured it for me so that you are able to find every information that you need, you know, because it's listed by lesson. And so in that, you will see product list as far as supplies go that I use in every design that I do, as well as the selection of flowers. And the selection of flowers are going to be, because they're from the garden, from the flower farms, etc. It may involve flowers that may not necessarily be available at every market, like every farmer's market or every region. But I'm going to very much focus on nomenclature, plant identity, because I think it's really important to know, you know, the care and handling, all of the longevity data and things like that. That's really important about things that you source locally. And so we're going to do that. And of course, every supply that we use will also assess its identity, its ingredient, so that we know, because in large part anymore, I want to address, you know, like just working as sustainable as possible, so that we know what we're using and where, when you do throw it out, where it goes. And so we're going to have that conversation as well. So just actually identity of all your materials, supplies, and flowers is going to be a much more thorough study through this and from here on, actually.
Yeah,
That's
well, I
going to
mean,
make it my mission.
that kind of goes hand in hand with kind of garden style design, right?
I think so.
Sustainability
I
is
think
a little
so.
is a big part of it, or kind of synonymous with it.
Well, I
to
mean,
a
with
certain
every
degree.
flower that I haven't used yet, that I see, that I think, whoa, that'd be perfect for the meadow look. Well, I want to know what it is, and I'm going to show you how you can find its identity, and it's vital information. I'm going to share with you, what I do, and how I notate it so that I have it on my list of material that I have access to. I think it's really important today that we identify our elements of design, which is exactly the ingredients that we work with. So we're going to talk about that a lot, because that way I can differentiate the difference between the elements of designs that we work with and the principles of design is what you do with it. Because so often those two are lumped together, EMP, elements and principles. They're not the same. They're different. So I want to definitively separate them so you understand how it works, because that's all part of becoming a better designer, to know what those are.
All right, so next we're going to just quickly go through how to watch. If you're new or if you had trouble in the past knowing how to watch our different live sessions, and this will probably block out Hitomi, but I'm going to just read through it. Here we go. So how to watch our live lessons. This is actually in all the emails I sent out, but just in case you haven't read through the full emails, I do encourage you to read through the full emails every time they're sent out with workshop updates. But essentially, we conduct all of our live lessons using YouTube Live. Expect links to be emailed, posted to the Facebook group, as well as on the members section of the website, which I'll go through here in a second. Approximately 48 to 72 hours prior to each scheduled session. I don't post multiple links. So, for instance, you'll get probably this Sunday's link probably Friday or Saturday morning at the latest, but I won't be posting Monday's link until after Sunday's, just to make sure that you don't get links mixed up. So YouTube gives us a great balance of high quality video as well as a user-friendly live chat function. This allows you to interact and ask live questions throughout these sessions, which we highly encourage. Because this is a closed workshop, we ask that you do not share these YouTube links with anybody outside of the workshop. And also another addition, if you didn't already know, every single minute of every session, including lectures and student review, are all recorded in full and are available for you to watch afterwards. Those same links that are sent out, you'll be able to watch recordings. So if you miss it, you can still click on that same link and watch the recording. And again, you as registered students get lifetime access to all the recordings and all the content from the workshop. So going to that note on there about the member section, because a lot of people don't know, I think from what I've heard, that you can access stuff through the members section, which is quite handy, especially for after the workshop has passed. I think, as we're going through the workshop, it's easy to get links and information via the emails that are sent out. So if you don't receive emails, make sure to check your spam or your junk mail folder if you don't see it in your inbox, as well as the Facebook group. It's really important, really, to get the most out of the workshop, to join the Facebook group, because that also serves as a bit of a bulletin board where I'm constantly posting updates and links and details about the workshop. But in addition to those two sources, you can also get all the content and all the links and all the information via the member section of the website. So when you register for the workshop, you create an account, or you've already had an account. And so to get in and access the members area, you're going to use your email that you signed up with and the password that you created when you signed up. So here we are on Hitomi's website. If I just go into the login on the top right-hand corner, I can log into my account. So I'm going to log into my account. And then you'll see this bar open on the right-hand side, and it shows the 2 classes that I'm registered for Hitomi. So if you see designing from the garden, just the home page of the members area, it says links coming soon. It has the full schedule of everything. And then to re-access that drop-down menu, you're just going to click on the account, and you'll see the different pages that we have. As now being a live workshop, we kind of add to this list as the workshop goes on. So you'll see community Facebook group is there. So that's just a link to join the Facebook group. And then of course we have today's orientation session. So it's a page where you can watch, or the link to the session here today. But if you go to, and I'll show you, just for those of you who are in our structure building class, and those of you that haven't, this is kind of how it looks as a complete workshop. So here we go. If I go back now up here and see the structure building workshop, you'll see that everything is chronologically put and by number. So we have session 1, we have session 1 challenge, we have session 1 gallery, her structures, gallery, notes, and then move on to session 2. So it's going to look very much like this as we go through this program. So it's a great place where you can just go back and access.
Find what you want to see.
Find what you want to see. Find what you're looking for, whether it's notes or pictures or a recording. So I highly recommend using the members area of the workshop, especially after this workshop's over, because it's the best way for you to find an organized kind of table of everything that was included in the workshop.
It's a real plus, because it's more of a pleasure to be able to fit into that system, knowing that way you can search out what you want to look up again later on. Just makes it so much easier to search. You don't have to sit through a whole video to find it,
right?
Which is great. So the content, that really becomes a table of content, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. We want to kind of create these workshops in kind of a curriculum format so that it's easy to then put these kind of table of contents even as the workshop's going. So I'm just adding to the next, portion of the workshop down the list. So
it's a good idea, Colin.
Makes it easier. I mean, I think your structure building class was the first one that we really did that as we went on, and it makes it much easier for me. It's less work to do afterwards. So, so hopefully everybody knows how to access the memory area. If you have any problems logging in or you forgot your password, there is a forgot password account. But if you're still having any troubleshooting and technical issues, that's what I'm here for. So feel free to email me or email the info@design358, I think is the one that's posted throughout, or just reply to one of the emails, workshop update emails, or post a question on the Facebook group, and I'll be happy to help out and help troubleshoot.
So I'm going to ask you guys that if you have questions, anything to do with design, anything to do with the actual lesson, the content of it, send me a message. But don't send me any messages about how to do anything to do with tech, because that's Colin's department.
She'll forward them to me, and then I'll answer
Yeah, because I have no clue. So, we definitely have a separation of our duties, our job, when it comes to these virtual presentations. So,
you'll get used to, if you haven't been with us before, you get used to me being, here in my little square in the corner of the screen. So I'm here to forward and moderate these live sessions, forward questions to Hitomi, bring them up on the screen. That's another reason why we use, again, going back to YouTube, is the production software that we use allows me to bring up questions up onto the screen, which makes it a lot easier for you to see the question that's being asked. And it's great for recordings and everything as well.
And it's perfect because I can't be teaching and be looking out for the questions. I can't do two things at the same time. So that's why Colin watches out on the questions and make sure that you'll get those things answered as it's going along. So that really helps. And then he also, because I run on and run on and run on sometimes, like he'll just raise his hand like this because he's just right across the way here, when there is an urgent question that needs to be asked that I need to stop for. So that's really, really helpful that there's a team of us here that makes everything kind of work like a clockwork. So yeah, I have to thank Colin for being that guy, because I couldn't be doing what I do without his expertise.
That's my job. All right. So if anybody we'll stay on for another 5 minutes, 10 minutes if need be. But if you don't have any questions, we can end it. But I'll leave it on for about 5 minutes and open to questions if anybody has any questions about the program or technical questions or anything of the sort. I will bring up a little graphic that I put up that I came up with. Let's see, where is it? I think it's here. And then I need to take this how to watch off. And then I came up with a little tips to get the most out of today's workshop. And we went through a lot. We covered a lot of these already, kind of periodically, but I kind of put a little list together. So join the Facebook group one if you can. If you have a Facebook account, join the Facebook group. That's where we have, not only are we posting all the workshop updates and links, etc., but it's a great way to meet the other students as well as get additional feedback. If you're posting the student challenge on the Facebook group, you'll get some feedback from Hitomi throughout the program on what you're doing. Another one is interact and ask questions during the live lessons. That's why we do them live, is so that there can be that live interaction between Hitomi and the student. So please don't feel bad asking questions at any point. That's what we're there for. Third, take on the design challenges and post them to the Facebook group. So Hitomi does issue a design challenge at the end of every single lesson. So, and it's kind of an optional thing, but we encourage you to do it and post to the Facebook group to get some feedback from both Hitomi and other students.
I do review it every day, and I make sure that, point out if I don't, but I make sure that I answer or I comment on everything that gets put up. And I will mention this, that, if you are particularly proud of something that you created, you could also just tag me, and then I might just put it on my story, because I love it when there's a success story, when somebody's feeling really good about what they've done and want to share it to Facebook or Instagram, and then I'll just go ahead and share it to my story if it comes that way. So I think it's really fun, because I see some really cool things that are being made, and I'm like, yeah, more people should see it. It's awesome. So yeah, that's kind of what social media is for anyway, to support those who are doing some good things.
And then the final thing is just to try to complete that student assignment at the very end of the workshop, and especially to do the live student review on that, I believe it's August 25th. It's really great sessions that we do. We always have really fun when we see, all the designs, assignment submissions from all over the world. So we're excited, especially with garden style design, see what people have growing in their gardens or what they're foraging,
or what their take
local
is on the garden
farmers.
style and what they've adapted for them personally, because I think that's all part of it. My thing is to inspire you in as many ways as possible to explore what garden style can be. And it's for you to decide, and you have choices. It's for you to decide what suits you and your way of thinking and and the kind of flowers that you may have. And sharing that makes it really that's what makes it extremely diverse, really, in the end, is how it's implemented at the end. And I think that's the coolest part of it. And so the student review for me is a cool finale to the whole thing. And I'm always so proud of what everybody puts together and their story, because we'll have a conversation, it's one-on-one with each entry. And so, we get to hear your voices, we get to see your faces, and attach the design that you created with who you are, which is a great way of making friends around the world, actually.
And then the last tip is to have fun.
Yeah.
Right?
It's totally about that.
That's what flowers are about, and growing flowers and designing with flowers. So it seems like there's no questions. We had that one from Joyce, so hopefully that was good. And hopefully, some of the things we covered answered any potential questions that you may have. And then If some of you are watching this afterwards, please use the Facebook group or send an email if you do have any questions following watching this orientation session. Otherwise, I guess we look forward to seeing you on Sunday, right?
Yep, that's right. No, it's going to be fun, and looking forward to seeing everyone. Yeah, join the Facebook group. I think that's really the key to stay in connection with what's going on. I know that sometimes somebody will actually ask on the Facebook page, like, how do I get on, in a big panic? And Colin will pick that up and take care of you. So it's just a great point of communication for all of us, because we get actually notifications when something comes in there. So that really is helpful. That's our main kind of a connector, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure. So that's where especially Hitomi is going to be the most active on the Facebook group. Through email and stuff, you'll get me most of the time. So Facebook group, if you're able to, really take advantage of that community group that we have set up. All right.
It's pretty cool. Great. Thanks for joining today.
Yeah, thanks
I'll
for
see you
joining
on
everybody
Sunday.
today, and we'll see you on Sunday.
Excellent.
I know I'm calling past your bedtime. I hope you don't mind me waking you up at night to find out if you might like to meet me outside your patio. I've been hoping maybe you might open up and tell me alright. Let's go see